Ladies and gentlemen, divine trust trumps human logic. Trusting in divine guidance requires abandoning the need to see every step ahead. Faith isn't logical, it's spiritual, and you must learn to act without needing constant proof. Expand the divine trust trumps human logic. Most people live their lives chained to logic. They want certainty, evidence, guarantees before they take a single step. They overanalyze every decision, calculate every outcome, and run scenarios in their heads like some kind of spiritual accountant. And yet they still say they trust God. But here's the truth. Real trust in divine guidance begins where your logic ends. It's when your plan runs out and your certainty collapses that the actual journey of faith starts. Faith, the kind that changes lives, shakes nations, and fulfills purpose, will never fit inside a spreadsheet. It will never align with your perfectly calculated plan. You can't measure it, dissect it, or schedule it. That's why divine trust trumps human logic every time. Because what you see, what you think you understand, is only a fraction of the full picture. And most people are so stuck in their own limited perspective that they reject the very opportunities and breakthroughs God places in front of them, simply because it doesn't make sense. Let's get brutally honest. If everything in your life had to make logical sense, you wouldn't even be here. Think about it. Look back at your life. The people you met, the moments that shaped you, the doors that opened at just the right time or closed when you didn't understand why. You couldn't have planned it. You wouldn't have predicted it. Yet it happened. That's not coincidence. That's divine strategy. And yet, now that you're facing your next big leap, you're hesitating again, waiting for everything to make sense before you move. This is the trap. Logic says, stay safe, wait until it's certain, play it smart. But divine trust says, move when you're called, even if you're scared, even if it looks stupid to everyone else. Because purpose is never convenient, and destiny never waits for perfect timing. You want to know why some people live mediocre lives while others break every ceiling and live boldly? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's trust. It's who's willing to step when the next step looks like a cliff. It's who's willing to go all in when all they've got is a whisper from above and a fire in their gut. The logical mind says that's risky. But the Spirit says that's obedience. When you truly trust that God's hand is leading you, you no longer need all the answers. You don't wait for clarity, you create it through action. You stop asking why and start declaring, let's go. You start showing up with confidence, not because you know the path, but because you know the one who designed it. And let me be clear, this isn't blind ignorance, this isn't recklessness. This is trained spiritual intelligence. This is the kind of trust built from discipline, from listening, from falling on your face and learning how to get back up. This is trust forged in fire. Not just theory, it's about understanding that God's hand is more accurate, more strategic, and more purposeful than your most detailed plan. The problem is, most people think they trust until they have to actually move. They say, God, I surrender. But what they mean is, I surrender as long as you show me how this ends. That's not trust. That's negotiation. And heaven doesn't negotiate with fear. Divine power doesn't bend to your need for comfort. If you want to walk with that kind of guidance, you better learn to move, even when it's messy, confusing, and uncomfortable. Because that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where your calling expands. That's where your character is built. In the wild unknown, where logic fails and only faith can carry you forward. You can live your life according to what makes sense, or you can live your life according to what makes purpose, but you can't have both. One leads to control, the other leads to calling. And until you're willing to release your grip on needing to know how, you'll never experience the fullness of what it means to be led by a divine hand. So stop asking, for more signs. Stop praying for clarity when what you really need is courage. Stop trying to figure it all out before you make a move. Because trust, real trust, isn't shown in what you say, it's proven in what you do, even when logic says don't. Let me know if you want the next keynote expanded the same way. Taking action while trusting the process. Too many people have the wrong idea about faith. They think faith means waiting. They think trusting in a higher power gives them a free pass to sit still until the skies part and a divine voice gives them a play-by-play. But that's not how it works. Trusting the process does not mean being passive. Trust does not cancel responsibility. If anything, it multiplies it. Because once you claim to believe that a higher power is orchestrating your life, you have an obligation to act in alignment with that belief. You can't say, I trust, and then hesitate. You can't say, I believe, and then refuse to move. Faith isn't sitting in a corner hoping the situation improves. Faith is movement. Faith is execution. Faith is getting up every single day and showing up with intensity, even when nothing seems to be changing. Because when you truly trust the process, you understand that the process includes your action. You don't get to just sit there. You've got to grind. You've got to show initiative. You've got to build when it doesn't make sense and sow seeds even when you don't see a harvest yet. Some people are spiritual on the surface, but lazy in action. They say they're waiting on God, but really they're hiding behind inaction. They've mistaken delay for obedience when really they're just afraid to fail. But let's call it like it is. Waiting without working is not faith. That's just procrastination in disguise. The process requires participation. The process needs your hands, your voice, your decision making. You've been equipped to move, not just to wait. You don't need all the answers to start. You just need the discipline to show up and the courage to keep going.